in the interview, right? Like I said, we try to see if person will ask some good questions, right? So we try to see whether person is going to ask some good questions, and also we try to see what kind of clarity, because to ask the questions, right, good questions, you should have context about it. So like this here, say for hypothetical reason, right, if this is for some people with millions of users, then the way we wrote code yesterday won't work, because say let's open our Python interpreter, okay, and then calculate number of computations. So you all know how to open the Python interpreter, right? We did that on the second class only. So what do let's open Visual Studio, okay? So in Visual Studio, you just run this program. Once you run the program, you know where the Python is installed, right? So you are going to copy this, okay? And the best way to do, if you are struggling to copy the exact part, is just open Notepad, and from Notepad you copy this path, okay? You are able to see my screen, right? Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So what I did, I just copied that path without excluding python.exe, then press Windows key, and then type command line. So I got this command prompt. I clicked on command prompt, then I do cd, which is change directory, and then right click on the mouse. Right click on the mouse, pasted that here, I do enter, then here I just type P and tab, right? So automatically when I do P and tab, it will show that python.exe, then space. Again I go back to the notepad and I copy this common friends.py program, okay, path to that file. Again control C, come back here, paste, okay, enter. So list of common friends is 1 and 4. Now can you tell me how many comparisons happened in this? So this has 4, this has 4. So total how many comparisons happened? How many times this this friend is equal to this friend, this comparison, if statement, how many times this?
16.
16, correct? M into n, is that correct? Does everybody agree? Everybody agree it is m into n? So now what I want to do is go to that command prompt, right? Let's launch Python interpreter. I'm launching the interpreter now. So now 4 into 4, we know that there were one had 4, another had 4. The 4 into 4 is 16. What if it has, one has say 10,000, right? Like how many followers does some of the celebrities in India have, right? They have millions of followers. Let's say we want to find common followers between two celebrities, each with 1 million followers, right? So 1 million is 10 lakh. 10 lakh 0,000 000, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6 zeros multiplied by another 1 million, okay? How much this will be? So it will be 1000 trillion. 9 zeros is a trillion, billion, right? 1000 billion, which is 1 trillion. This is 1 trillion, correct? So you will have 1 trillion comparisons. That will be huge. 1 trillion comparison for, if there are 1 million, I am just writing it down here, okay, in our last part of this node. So if it is 4 and 4, this is just 16. But if it is 1 million and 1 million, okay, then this will be 1 trillion. Is that correct? Because here you have 6 zeros, here you have 6 zeros, so 1 trillion has 12 zeros. Do you think this will be too much? It will be very fast. I mean, it will take a lot of time to run. Do you agree? So how to optimize the algorithm? How to make it run in a short amount of time? I will tell you a very simple example before I introduce that concept to you, okay? Let's imagine hypothetically all the IDs of the users, right? All the IDs of the users are only between 1 and 1000, okay? So what I'll do is, I will declare an array. I'll declare an array of size 1001, okay? So this is the index, the array index, correct? Array index starts with what number?
0, sir.
0, right? So 0. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the way up to 1001. Okay. Now initially I will initialize all of the array values to 0. Okay, and then to when I get the IDs of the students, right, when I get the IDs of the student, and I told you that IDs are only between 1 and 1000. Okay, so what I'll do, so say I got the IDs as what were the IDs? So let's say we are comparing this to here, right? 10, 15, 4 and 1. 10, 15, 4 and 1. 10, 15, 4 and 1. So here in the fourth index I had put 0, right? So I'll remove this, and then also at 1 I had put 0, right? I'll remove this. Instead I'll change this to 1. I'll change it to 1. I'll also change this to 1, and then here somewhere, so this is done, then let's say here is the 10, right? Here is the 10, and this also I'll change to 1, and let's say here is the 15. Okay, I'll change this 15 to also 1. Okay, now I have an array like this in which all the numbers are set to 0, only these numbers are set to what? Set to 1, correct?
1.
So then when I am comparing, right, here, let's go back here, here, right? So we are comparing like this, right? 1, 4, 6, 9 to all of this, correct? So what we were doing, we are taking 1 and then comparing each one, right? You remember this, right? We did yesterday this one, and we did this 16 comparison. Now let's do that with the new model. 1, 4, 6, 9, right? Okay, so 1, 4, 6, 9. Now I have to compare this with 1, 4, 6, 9. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll say take this value first. The first value is 1. Okay, so here are the comparison. So the first value is 1. Okay, now instead of taking this 1 and comparing here in the entire array, I will directly ask this array. Okay, let's call it P2 index, person2 index. Okay, so I will ask person2 underscore index. I'll ask person2 index saying get me the value at the index 1. So I will say person2 underscore index, and at the position what? At the position 1. I'll say tell me what is your value. Then this guy will return to me saying my value is 1. So if it returns value as 1, then what it means? It means this number is present in person2, right? So I will mark this as a common friend. Now let's come to 4. With 4 also what will happen? I will ask in person2 underscore index at the index what? At the index 4. I'll ask what is the value. So that will also come out to be 1. Then I know that okay, this person, this ID is there in the other side also. So I will say 4 is also a common friend. Now next one is 6. Now for person2 index, person2 underscore index what? Index 6. What will be the value at 6 here? What will the array at 6 here? It will be 0, right? Because everything we had set to 0. So this will return saying this is 0. Then I know that this person is not there. So then he is not a friend. Now similarly I will do for 9. So 9 also person2 underscore index 9, the value will be 0, and then because of that he is not a friend. Now how many comparisons we did? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So from 16 we reduce the comparison to 4. You understood this part? Like what I did is, instead of comparing this with what was the our another person array, or another person array was 10, 15, 4, 1, 10, 15, 4, 1, right? So 10, 15, 4 and 1. So this is person 1, this is person 2. So instead of doing m into n, what we did was translated this P2 into a index.
Yes.
Okay, and this technique is called, do you know, anybody know the name of this technique? What is it called?
Sorting.
Sorting.
Sorting?
Sorting.
No. Okay, I'll start writing, you can guess. It starts with S.
Heap.
Hash code.
Yes, sir.
Hash. Hashing.
Yeah,
Hash input.
Hashing.
Hashing.
Hash.
correct.
F.
Yes, sir.
So what you did is hashing. What you did is this array, you created your own custom hash. You didn't use any built-in data structure called hash. Instead you use array, and you use the array's index as the hash, right? This is one of the very important concepts of computer science that you have to learn really well, because you can see the power of it, right? Like say in this case, from 4 to 4 it was 16, and this 16 comparisons will be reduced to, they will be reduced to 4,
4.
correct?
Yes, sir.
So with hashing, right? One second. With hashing, this will be reduced to 4. Similarly, this will be reduced to only 1 million. And imagine the time of the CPU time that you can save. Imagine the memory that you can save. Imagine the amount of money that you can save for your company, right? And the amount of human time you save is important, because human time, is so precious. You understood what I did here? I took an array with all zeros, and wherever you have this 10, 15, 4, 1, no, those values only I converted from 0 to 1, just to keep a record of that this is present, right? So what happens here is, here when I said person index of 4, okay, this particular line, right? So what program or the CPU does, your CPU does is, it will go to the base address 0, okay, it will go here, and from here it directly jumps to the 4th element here. So it literally directly jumps. So from here, from the base, it directly jumped to the 4 and retrieved this value for you. It did not go sequentially like this. So compared to this, like that library example I was telling you, right? Imagine you have just thrown the books. Then you have to pick each book and read one by one and see whether it's written by Kuvempu. But if they are very well organized, then you can enter the library and directly go to Kannada literary section and go to the shelf in which Kuvempu's books are there and directly start counting them. Is that analogy and this is same? Are they both same?
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
So similarly, when I say 15 or correct, when I said 15, again it go to the base here. This is like the entry of the library, okay? From library, from here it will directly compute, okay, how far is 15? How far is 15? And it directly jumps to 15. So from here it directly jumped to 15 and fetched this value. So that is how this code ran faster, okay? Now what we can do is, we can implement the same technique in our code also. Before that, I want you to introduce to a concept, and that concept is called time complexity. Have you heard of it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is it? Can anyone define to me? What is time complexity in computer science? What is time complexity? And how is it denoted?
Amount of time taken by the algorithm
Correct,
Time
to
required to
complete a
execute.
function.
right? Amount of time taken, right? And how is it measured? How is it measured? Is it measured in seconds? Is it measured in hours? How is it measured? Or is it measured with the unit that is not anyway related to time? Yeah, somebody murmured it. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh,
What is it called? O, right. O is correct.
O.
Yours. What is it called? There is another name for this, right?
Omega.
Omega.
Try.
Operations.
It starts with B.
Beta.
Do you recall?
Pico.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
So what is it called? So big O of N. So, okay. Now, why is that? It's a measure of time, but we don't measure it in seconds or minutes. Why is that? We measure it something very differently. Do you know why it is measured? Why would they have not measured this in seconds, right? They would have said, okay, it is a time, then time should be measured in seconds, minutes, or hours, right? Why it is measured in a notation called big O of N, which is abstract notation and a mathematical abstract notation, right? Why is that? Why is it measured in a very abstract way? And why not in a precise time? So the first principle thinking. You remember yesterday I told first principle thinking. When you are learning concepts, apply first principle thinking, and you ask the person who is explaining to you why. Why is it this way only? Why is it this way only? So why it is done this way is an important and you need to understand that. Say you wrote a for loop yesterday, right? You said for, you said what is that? Friend underscore person, correct? You
Yes.
said friend underscore person
In
in
person.
person 1, correct?
Yes, sir.
Person
Yes,
1.
sir.
Now inside this you would have written one line of code, or you would have written 50 lines of code, you would have written 100 lines of code. We really don't know how many lines of code you will write, correct? So this line of code here could have been say 1 to 100 or even more, right? Or even it is more than 100 lines of code from here. And CPU would have taken to execute this line of code, less than 1 nanosecond or a millisecond, or to even 1 minute or 10 minutes. We really don't know. Because with that data, what you are going to do, we really don't know, right? Since the code that you write here, we don't know what is that code going to be, right? But at the same time, we want to measure the efficiency of the algorithm, okay? Because of that, they came up with this idea, that big O notation. They said, we don't worry how many lines you wrote inside here, but we want to check how many times your loop is rotating here, how many times it is rotating and repetitively executing that instruction. If you are repetitively executing that instruction for n times, what is n here? N is equal to number of elements in that array, right? The n here is the variable. So if n times, if you are doing it n times, then the time taken will be denoted as big O of n, okay? And it has to be called as big O of n only. Now say you have n elements in one array, okay, and in another array you have another n elements. So time taken will be O of how much? Both of these are n and n. O of n square. Very good. O of n square. Because n into n. If it is say n comma m, like one is n and another is m, then you can also call it as O of n into m.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is only telling how many times those instructions will be repeatedly executed.
Okay.
Now why is this important? Because say your n is equal to 1 million. Now the way you have written the loop, if it is O of n square, then O of n square for O of 1 million square will be is equal to 1 trillion comparisons, correct?
Yes, sir.
But instead of that we used hashing technique, and the comparisons will be, first will be O of n, okay? You will spend time first to create the hash. So to create this hash, right, to create this hash I will go through all these elements one, that is O of n, okay? Second, To again now go through these elements, I will go through O of n again, and then I'll just use hashing and compare. So let's do the O of n plus O of n.
Yeah.
What is total? O of 2n. Okay, but O of 2n in mathematical terms, this 2 is what? Constant.
Center.
This is constant,
Constant.
right? So when you are plotting the graph on the input and output, you can ignore the constant. So this will be O of equal to O of n. Correct? Now let's do one thing. Let's understand this with a nice table. Okay. So here I'll write value of n. Here I'll say n square, and here I'll say 2n. Okay. And then here I will say just n. Okay. Are you all able to see the table?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's say n is equal to 4. So n square is how much? 16.
16.
Then 2n is 8.
8.
And here this is 4. Okay.
4.
Let's say this is 10. So this will be 100.
100.
This will be
20.
20.
20. This will be
10.
10.
10.
Correct. Correct. Let's say this is 25. So n square is 25 square is
25.
625.
Yes, 655.
Correct. 625. Then 25 into 2.
50.
You can use your Python interpreter. It will do calculation for you quickly, right? So 2n is 50 and this is 25. Okay. One more, maybe 100. So 100 square is how much?
10,000.
10,000. Then 2n is 200 and then 100.
100.
Okay. Now let's plot the graph for this. Okay. So let's say, and let's say this is 100, this is 50, this is 25, then this is around 10, 12, and this is 6, right? So 4 will be somewhere here. So for 4, let's first only draw only n part first. Okay, let's only draw the n part, and then we'll draw n square and we'll draw 2n. So n part I am going to draw it only with the blue color line. Okay, and let's say this is x axis. Okay, this is x axis and this is your y axis. And what is x and y here? Let's use some other color.
Time.
Correct. So x is number of items. Okay, number of items, and y is time. Okay,
Time.
y is time in, let's say it is in time in the form of seconds or in the form of some unit or comparison, right? Here let's assume 1 unit of time is 1 second. Okay, or we don't have to assume also, we can just say time, right? So it's just whatever is the unit, you assume second, minute, hour, doesn't matter, it's just the time. So y is the time and x is the number of items. So say 4. Now let's draw only for n, right? So the first one would be, here also I'll mark all the, so this will be say 6, this will be 12, this will be around 25, then this would be around 50, and then this would be around 100. Okay, so 4, 10, 25, 100. So the first point is here, green point, the first point is here, then 10 which is somewhere here, then 25 which is somewhere here, then it is 100 which is somewhere here, right? So it is like this. So this is what? O of n. So this line, the way it is growing in graph like this, what is this called? This growth is called what?
We can.
Increase.
Linear.
Linear. Very good. Who was that?
Akshita.
Huh?
Akshita.
Akshita. Very good. So this is the linear growth. correct? Because
sir.
the way it is increasing, it's growing linearly. Now let's do n square. Okay, n square. So first one is 4. So for the 4, this will be 16. So it will be, let's change the color, use blue here for this, or I want to use red for this. So for 4, this is 16. Then for 10, it is 100. Then for 25 it is 625. I don't have it. So I'm just going to connect the line like this, okay? And write here O of n square. So what is this graph line called as?
Exponential.
Exponential, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember linear and then n square is exponential, right?
Exponential.
Now say for 2n, what it would be? Let's use a different color. So for 4 it will be 8, okay? Say so for 4 it will be 8. Then for 10 it will be 20. Say for 10 it will be 20. Then for 25 it will be 50. So for 25 it will be 50.
For 100 is 100.
For 100 it is 100. For 100 it is 100, right? So the line is somewhere, no, I think something is 200. No, for 100 it is 200, right? So
Yes.
it's not this. So it will be somewhere here, okay? Somewhere here. Now this line is slightly more than this, right? But it is still linear only. It is not exponential. It is not like this, because the higher you go, the value exponentially will increase too much, okay? Whereas this one will grow linearly only. It won't be very high, right? So this line O of 2n is still linear only, correct? Do you see that? It is not growing exponentially. Now I'll show you this with some mathematical calculations using Python interpreter, and we can try this, right? So let's say 2 to the power n square, right? So n square is, we did this one already. Now say if it is 2n, right, it will be 2 million only. So if we say, we don't need calculator for that. If it is, say for exponential, I want to show you certain examples, right? Let's say there are 100 items, right? Instead of say 100, let's say there are 1000 items. So 1000 items n square, right? 1000 into 1000. 1000 into 1000 would be how much? 10 lakhs, right? Because 6 zeros, 1 million. Whereas 2 into 1000 is just 2000. Are you able to perceive what I am trying to say? What I am trying to say is the difference between 2n and n is not that much as you go to the higher number. So let's say go to, let's very high number, right? Let's go to 1 million. 1 million 6 zeros multiplied by 2. So this will be 2 million. But whereas if you do 1 million multiplied by 1 million,
1 million.
this will become 1 trillion, right? So are you able to see that impact of the n square exponential growth? You are able to see that impact of exponential growth, right?
Yes.
Right? So now why is this important? Do you know that lot of things now software runs in the cloud? Like say whenever you are doing your UPI, your Insta, your Snapchat, lot of the code actually runs in the server, not on your phone. Do you all agree? Now to run that code in the server, if you don't optimize it for performance, you will end up paying lot of bill to the data center operation. And roughly speaking, say you are renting one virtual machine there, right? One virtual machine with 8 cores and say 12 or 16 GB RAM on some of the cloud platforms, say whether it's AWS or Microsoft, right? So you will spend at least $200 easily per month. $100-200 easily per month. And if you, instead of writing code in a way it works linearly, if you use exponential, then you need more computers to run that code, which means you will spend more money. And if you spend more money, you have to take more money from your customer. And if your competitor writes the code like this with linear, they will be able to offer the same service and product at a cheaper price. So customers, as a customer, where will you go? Will you go to the person who give you expensive solution, or will you go to one who give you cheaper solution, cheaper and faster,
Cheaper and fast.
right? Say imagine tomorrow Instagram starts charging you money, or Snapchat starts you charging money. Will you use it? Say they start charging you 10,000 rupees per month. They say that no, our developers wrote a code which runs in O of n square and we are having lot of expenses, we can't afford it, they start charging you, right? So this is why as a software engineer, learning this time complexity concepts, learning hashing concepts, optimizing your code is super important. And in the interviews, we initially start with the brute force algorithm like O of n square. We call this brute force method, the one that we initially did, right? And then we try to optimize that with different techniques to reduce the time it takes. Okay, so let's go ahead and reduce the time of the code that we wrote yesterday. Okay, this one. So how to reduce it? What we have to do? We have to push one of the person data into an hash map, correct? We have to use hashing technique, right? Apply hashing technique. Okay, so now what we have to do is this person2, right? Person2 index is equal to set of person2. Okay, so this set function, what the set function do? It converts your data into a hash. It gives you a hash. The set function, it gives you a hash of this. Okay, now all the data will go into, or I'll call it, instead of index I'll call it hash only, person2 hash. Are you getting this? And then here you have to remove this for loop here. So what I'll do is, give me a second, what I'll do is I'll define one more function so that we have both solutions to run and compare. Okay, just give me a second. Let me copy this function. You also do the same on your machine, which is from definition from line number 3 here, right? From here you copy this whole function till you do return. Okay, Control C, and then at the beginning here you paste it one more time. Okay, and rename the function. You cannot have same function with same name, so I'm going to call it find common friends underscore faster. Okay, I added another name at the end called faster. So now in this I'll delete the hash set here, that is not required. Okay, now this for loop we have to optimize, we have to remove this for loop. Okay, so instead of that we have to find, I'll delete this code. Okay, so this is the code. What did I do here? I declared a hash set. Okay, I converted that I used an internal function called set, and I converted that person2 list into a person2 hash. And then now I am directly saying if person1 is in person2 hash, it is like that same thing that I was showing, right? I directly go to index and check if that person is there, and if it is there I will directly append it. Okay, and then I return the common function. So let me annotate and explain this one more time so that there are no doubts. How about this? We run this code first before I explain, right? So now I need to call this function, Control C, and I will do is I'll just first comment this line. Okay, and because first let's check if the code is working, right? And instead of friends I'll call faster. Okay, let's run the code. Is the output correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is the output correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's go ahead and understand the code and also debug the code. Okay, so first I'm going to annotate and explain it on the board, and then we'll debug it, and then you will write it and you will debug and you will understand it. Okay, am I going too fast or am I going too slow, or is it correct speed? So this is the most important line, this line. And this is where the whole magic happened. And what is the magic? The magic is, it took the data in person2 and it created a hash set. So it basically created a hash set, and internally, you know, it has that same array like structure. And here, what were those values? Can somebody tell me the values? What were the values? The second for person2, what were the values?
10, 15, 4 and 1, sir.
1, 4, 10, 15, right? So internally it built a hash for person2. And returned back that hash set, and we stored that in this variable called person2 hash. Okay, and now we still have to read at least one array, right? One array, one person, we have to go one at a time, right? So we're going through that one at a time, and at that time we ask this hash set saying, so we extracted one value, right? The first value was 1, right? In person1. So we've extracted that value, and this line is super important. Okay, this line, which is, if friend of person1 in this hash, so your entire second for loop is replaced by this line here. And instead of having O of n complexity to go and search in every element of second array, we reduced from O of 1 to O of how much? O of 1.
And
this is super important. This is super important. Just make note about this. Okay, so we reduced the comparison on one side from O of n to O of 1. So what happened with our multiplication? O of n into O of n, it was there, right? So instead of that, what happened? It happened O of n into O of 1. So your final output or final answer is reduced to O of n. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
This one line and this data structure made the magic for you. Is it all, is it all positive about this? Is there any negative thing, or is it a, demerit of this approach? We are gaining something. We are gaining the speed. What is that we are losing? Can anybody tell me?
Memory.
Yes. What are we losing here? How many of you agree? How many of you agree we are losing memory here? And how? Can you explain how are we losing memory?
Like it would be storing fast.
This, we created a new variable here, no? This one. We created a new variable called person2 hash, correct? This one. To store this data, we need memory, right? Correct?
Yes, sir.
This is not going to be free. This is not free. So is everything clear? How it reduced from 2 for loop to single for loop, and then how this converted it to the set, and how looking into the set is just O of 1. So why it is O of 1? Because what it will do, it will directly take this base address and then jump there and check, and jump here and check, jump here and check. Okay, so that from, instead of going sequentially like this, it directly jumps there. Now I would like to give one analogy of something very important, or that you will be able to relate with. Okay, let me add that diagram and show, so that you can relate with it. Okay, give me a second. I don't know, there's some issue with importing. What I'll do is I'll again use Bing only. Okay, have you seen these? Did you had these in your homes? Old cassette player, have you seen this?
Yes, sir.
So what is the problem with this?
Sometime it will be stuck, sir.
Like say you want to find a song and play. Like say in that you want to play, you know that in that movie there is one song that you want to play. What has to happen? How you used to go there to that song? I think I'll have to show those on YouTube only now.
20 years back we saw that.
Okay. So it used to be like this. Okay. So what used to happen is the whole song is recorded on a magnetic tape. Okay. Now in that we would put here like this, and then say, I know that in this movie there is a wonderful song. Okay. Now I have to put this and then play and then keep forwarding it. Keep forwarding it till I get that song. Why is that? Because you could not jump to any particular song here. You have to go sequentially only. Only thing is you can go faster. If you want, you can just go faster, but you cannot jump it. So this is like you are scanning through the array one by one. So whenever, if your program is slow, what picture should come to you? What video should come in your mind? This video. If your program is slow, if it is taking O of n square, it is exactly like this. Okay. Now, what is the faster way to listen to music? What is the faster way to listen to music? Spotify? Spotify playlist? Correct? You can just
Yes.
go to playlist. You just go to playlist and you click on the number and you will have the song playing. So, Spotify playlist is like what? Hashing technique, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because you can jump to any song and then within the song you can again jump to the middle of the song, you can jump to the end of the song. So this is like hashing, and that cassette is like your old tape recorder cassette. The sequential scanning is like
Yeah.
this. Will you remember this concept now for your you will never I hope you'll never forget this concept with these two examples. Okay.
Yes.
So whenever you think of hashing, you should think of Spotify. Whenever you think of O of n square complexity with reading every element, you should remember this video that we saw today. Okay. So can you all open your IDE now and share your screen and implement this code, and then we'll debug the code together. Okay. So copy that code, find common friends from definition from there till full function. You left copy it full. No. This you are copying the whole program. You have to only copy the function. You have to only
Okay.
copy the function implementation. Okay. Okay. Control C. Yeah. Now go to the beginning of the function. Go to the top. Add some space there. Don't paste. Don't paste.
One.
Create enough space. Okay. Now paste it here. Okay. Let's rename the function. Change it from friend common friends underscore. So at the end just append one more prefix a suffix called at the end of the name of the function. Now you want to have just a different name. If you keep
Okay,
same
sir.
name, what happens? Let's do one thing. If you keep same name and run it, let's remove that. I want you to run this code. Try to run this code and let's see what does your interpreter say.
One comes.
Huh?
It
Wait.
gives answer.
It
One
gives-
comes.
Can you save your file? Press Ctrl S.
Press
Okay. And your
one.
it worked, huh?
Yes, sir.
So Python, I think it is just taking it is just taking one of them. Okay, it's interesting. C programming is not this friendly. It will give you compiler error. It will say I won't allow you to do this. Okay, now let's rename the first function. At the end, just add one more underscore and call it faster. You could have called it anything. I am just giving a suggestion. You could have said anything like faster, whatever, speeder, or it doesn't matter. Just the name has to be different. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and you already made the change, huh?
Yes, sir.
Percent to
While you are telling, I changed.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah, now go below and call this function instead of the other one. And the other one you roll it back to the initial only, okay? Because I want you to, later you do that later after you stop sharing screen. So go down from where you are calling that function, no? So here, instead of calling this, call with underscore. Friends, tab. Use tab, you don't have to type. Okay. Now run it. It worked, right? Okay.
Yes.
Next person. After Akshita, Malama. Oh, you also updated already? Okay, let me see. Person to has set is set. But see, Mallama, here you have still 2 for loops, no?
Yes, sir.
You have to remove the second for loop. Otherwise,
Okay,
your
sir.
comparison will be. Let's do one thing. 1 second. Did you copy paste the function name somewhere one more time? No,
Yes,
right?
sir. I done 2 times. It's a definition once and definition
Where is
two.
your definition 1?
1 minute, sir.
Let's change this one,
And
faster
one,
one.
sir.
Let's edit this one first, okay? So here, when
Okay.
you came here, right? Now your second for loop is what we are trying to optimize, right? So
Yes, sir.
delete line number 9, 10, 11, all 3.
9, 10, 11, sir.
9, 10, 11, correct. We'll rewrite these 3 lines.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you got a friend in person 1. Now that this person 1 you have to search in the person 2 hash, correct?
Yes, sir.
Write if statement. You try to write it, I'll help you if you are stuck.
With dash set means already in a common reference I written, no, sir, in a defining in the beginning. Person 1 to hash is equal to set person 2. That is the thing, no, sir.
So your code is not yet complete.
Okay.
So what you did is you only convert that your library was unorganized, okay? From unorganized library you only created the organized library here, but the searching is not yet done. Searching has to be done still.
Okay.
So write the code for searching.
Searching person hash.
And Malam, I take it easy, okay? Even if you don't get it, is absolutely fine. I'll help you if you are stuck, but I want you to attempt to write it yourself, and then
Yes,
I'll help you. And nobody is judging you here. All of other people are your college friends only,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Right? And from my company side also, we are also people who also learnt like this only, right? So we are also not judging you, and we are not going to what do you say, give you any marks or degree or anything, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
feel absolutely okay. Take your time and try to write.
What I want to write, sir, can you give the int, sir? I mean, little bit of
Sure. See, I'll tell you in terms of abstract way, right? So what is that
Okay.
in function you have to do? There are 2 collection. One is person 1 array and person 2. The
Yes, sir.
person 2 was an array that you converted into a hash set. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now you have to take one ID from person 1. Take
Okay.
one ID from person 1 and check if it is there in this person 2 hash set, right? So what is this for loop doing? I'm going to draw on your screen. Just give me a second. So the person 1 here, no? This person 1 is an, you are able to see what I'm drawing?
No, sir, it is small.
Okay, 1
Yes.
second. Anyway, see, the advantage with this is it took the screenshot of your code. Now I can explain. Okay. So this array, right? What is your array person 1? How many elements are there in person 1? Can you tell me the numbers? What are the person 1 array? What were the IDs?
It is 1469, sir.
Okay, 1,
From
4,
user 1.
6, 9. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What
And
are
from
the values in the other one?
it is a 10, 15, 4, 1.
10,
15,
15,
4,
1.
1.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when you say the syntax, no, for friend person 1 in person 1, what it does is it starts reading one element at a time and give that value in this variable one at a time. And this whole whatever code you write below this, no, it will run it in a loop like this. For is a loop, right? So first it will give you 1 inside this, then it will give you 4, then it will give you 6, then it will give you 9. So it will give one element at a time here. It is not that it will give entire set here, because entire set if you give, how will you compare it, right?
Yes, sir.
So it is like this. It is like, say, I am asking you, are you able to see the book?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I am asking you to book saying, Mallama, in this book they have called your name 10 times.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Then I'll tell you, now you have to find where it is, right? So what you will do? You will open one page, right? You will open one page and then you read through that page to find where is Mallama, right?
Yes, sir.
Then you will open second page and then try to read again to see where is Mallama. Like that you will keep on going, right? One page
For
at a
both
time.
I want to, yes, sir.
Huh? Or
Yes.
will you do that like a Chitti, that Rajnikant movie where you take the book and do like this?
No, sir, it's a whole book.
You will go one page at a time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you
one
seen
book.
that movie, Rajnikant and Aishwarya's movie?
Yes, sir.
Robo,
Robot.
right? Robo,
Yes, sir.
where Chitti does like this.
Yes, sir. It's a machine, no, sir.
Correct. So here you are writing code exactly like that. You read one in this, when you say for friend person 1 in person 1, you are reading one element at a time, and now you got 1. Okay, now this 1 you have to search whether it is there here. Earlier what you were doing, earlier you were doing same thing, like go here first check, go here first check. So that is why you had one for loop for this,
Yes,
and
sir.
then another for loop for this, and this for loop was called only one time, whereas this for loop was called 4 times. Why it was called 4 times? For each element this was
Want to check.
one time, right? For each element one time. So once it was called for 1, then for 4 it was again called like this,
2 times.
right? Second time, and then third time for this, and then again for 9, right?
Yes, sir.
So now what you are trying to do, you are trying to remove this part, which is the second part, and here what you are trying to do is use this hash set. Now what is the advantage of hash set? The hash set, you can ask it like this, right? So you have this person, so you can ask it saying friend underscore person 1. In is the keyword, okay? In is an important keyword. In this hash set name, what is the hash set name? Person 2 underscore hash. So what does this return? This returns true or false. It returns true or false. True means what? This person is present there. False means the person is absent there. So this line, if you write like this, whatever you want to search, in is the keyword, asking this hash set to go ahead and search and find, come and tell you whether he is there or not, that he or she is there or not, right? That ID is there or not. If that ID is there, it will say true or it will say false. And if statement, you are writing basically if true, if means if this is true, if this is returning true, then you add that person into the your output here, which is common friends output. This is what you are doing, right? So now let's do one thing. You can share your screen and give it a try now to write the code. So remove line number
10 bits, sir. I will go.
no, wait, go to your
11.
first function, right?
Here only, sir. Yeah.
Removed, right? Next line. Okay, enter. So the value is coming in friend underscore person 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Write that friend underscore person 1, type that. Then
Then 1.
what was the keyword?
Person to
Huh.
in.
Correct. In,
Person to, sir.
in
Person to.
where is the hash? What is the name of the hash? Is it person 2 or no? Where is the hash stored into?
Hash is.
See, this is not a hash. Hash is somewhere else. This is not a hash. This is just a normal array. Where is the hash? You created it. It is there in your code. Read line by line. From here you will read line by line. You will
Common
find.
friends, sir.
No. That is your output, Amma. This is your output, right? So
Yes, sir.
you only did it. You wrote it already. You typed it here. Try to find what is the name of the hash that you created, and the name is, it is also there in the name of it. So read line by line. No, from here start reading line by line. You will find the name.
Okay, sir.
So start reading the code along loudly.
Okay.
Hmm.
Define 1 minute, sir. Find common friends faster. Person 1, comma person 2,
Hmm.
common friends,
Hmm.
and person 2 hash is equal to set person 2.
So what is that line doing? What is line number 6 doing? Can you explain to me?
Sir, it will minimize the searching thing, sir.
It is not checking anything. It just
Okay.
converted your unorganized library to a organized library. It
Okay,
converted from that tape recorder cassette to a Spotify playlist. That's it. Right?
Yes, sir.
So what is that hash? The hash is the hash, right? You are trying to look. You have to look in the hash only. Person
Yes,
to
sir.
hash is the name of the variable. So you
Yes, sir.
declared person to hash,
Okay.
and you converted an unorganized list of people IDs into an organized list of, right? So here you have to search in the organized list. It means you should not search again in %2. You have to search in %2 hash, not in %2, correct? Are you able
Yes,
to
sir.
understand? See, this line number 6
Yes,
looks
sir.
like you have confusion. Is there any confusion? Please ask.
No, sir. Is it right? Correct, no, sir, now?
It is
It's a
correct.
person.
It is correct, but I see that you have not understood line number 6. You have some doubts. Okay, I will explain this. I'll take one more minute to explain this. Just hold on.
Okay.
So this set, the set keyword that you use, no, this is a function that you are calling. Okay, the standard library function you are calling. So here this line, it is very important, Malama, that you understand this line. Okay, the set
Okay, sir.
keyword here,
Yes, sir.
set what you are calling is a function. How to know that it is a function? Because you are calling that with these braces here.
Yes,
Like
sir.
say print also, right? Print is a function, and how you call a function? You call the name and you put a brace and then you pass those values, right? Now
Yes,
even
sir.
find common friends is a function. How you called that? Same way. You call the name, put the brace and call. So first thing you have to remember is this is a function. Okay, set is a function. And what is that set function? What is the input to the set function? Input to the set function is a array, or you can say it's a list. Okay, in case of Python. What is the output? Output means this function is returning back something. It is returning back something. And what is that it is returning? It is returning you a hash set. It is only doing that. It is not searching. It is not doing anything. It is neither searching. It is neither counting. It is not doing anything at all.